Hello and welcome to this Red Gaming Tech video of myself and Marta, where I'm here to talk to you about Intel's Rocket Lake, as we have quite a bit of information on this today, including a spec leak and a benchmark. Now obviously AMD have been pretty much kicking Intel in the shins for the last couple of years, with Ryzen just being on an absolute tear, and obviously Intel are still Intel. They're hardly on the street corner begging for spare change, but you know, they've definitely taken a significant hit thanks to just how insanely competitive AMD have been on the processor market. So will we finally see a turnaround with Rocket Lake? So let's talk first about these leaked specifications. Now, this tweet was a couple of days old, but to be honest, I completely missed it, and it was originally made by David Beppo, and it was helpfully made into a rather lovely chart by Harukaze over on Twitter as well. You can find a link to both in the description below this video. So, in terms of specs, what can we see here? Well, we have the i9 11900K, of course, 3.5 GHz, and a one-core turbo of 5.3 GHz, which is pretty insane, I'm sure you can agree. And then on the 8-core turbo, we see 4.8 GHz. So, once again, 8 cores, 16 threads, single core boost of 5.3 and an all-core boost of 4.8 with 16 megs of L3 cache on the 11900K. Pretty damn promising and impressive, I'm sure you will agree. But let's move over to the benchmarks that I mentioned at the start of this video. This time around we have Tom Apisak to thank, of course link below as usual. And as you can plainly see on screen, the benchmark this time around is Ashes of the Singularity. And once again it is the 11900K being benchmarked here, 3.5 GHz, of course, as we previously discussed. So in terms of results, what can we actually see here? Well, we can see 62.8 frames a second on average within this benchmark, and this was running at 1080p with the crazy preset, and the PC this was actually tested on had an RTX 2080 Ti, as well as 32 gigs of DDR4 RAM. Now you might say, okay, but what does that actually mean? How much of an improvement is that versus the 10th generation? It is a 9% performance improvement. But there is more. Don't go anywhere, because thanks to the guys over at WCCF Tech, we also have a comparison against the Ryzen 9 5950X. And here is where we really start to see how impressive Rocket Lake actually is looking to be. So we see the 11900K once again being pitted against 5950X, as well as of course the 10900K, and Rocket Lake is leading the 5950X by 10%, and also again a 5 to 10% lead over the 10900K, which links in, with what I just discussed on the Ashes of the Singularity benchmark. Now we do have some information on a slightly lower down chip in the stack, the 11400. But before I move on to that, I just want to talk about what these results actually mean. Now, I will just say, I'm not going to go super in-depth here, because Paul actually wants to do a really in-depth look at Rocket Lake and what it means for Intel and how they're competing against AMD and so on and so on. So this is just going to be a quick overview, but I just wanted to really highlight that, at least judging from what we've seen so far, I think we are going to see Rocket Lake kind of signal the beginning of the comeback for Intel, at least when it comes to gaming. I am purely talking about gaming here. Now obviously the 5950X, the Ashes of Singularity benchmark, is not going to be hitting all those cores and threads, but a lot of games just won't, because, well, 5950X is more of a prosumer chip. You know, it's for people editing who also want to play games, or they also do Blender work or whatever. Like, the use cases are numerous, as I'm sure you would agree. But obviously it is still a very expensive chip from AMD, the top end of the Ryzen 5000 lineup. And the fact that Rocket Lake is not only beating it here, but has been discovered to be 5.3 GHz on a single core. Again, I just want to hammer home how impressive that actually is. It's looking really, really promising, to be honest with you guys. And again, we should always wait for final benchmarks, prices, etc. But it's looking really promising. We might finally see a comeback from Intel to fight back against the Ryzen dominance that we have seen over the last couple of years. But of course, we'll have to wait and see. But last piece of Rocket Lake things before I move on to our other segment for today, which is regarding Cyberpunk 2077. we have a Sysoft Sandra listing as well for the 11400. This time around we see a 6-core 12-thread part base clock of 2.6 and a boost clock of 4.4. We see 12 megs of L3 cache, 3 megs of L2 and a 65 watt of TDP. Now obviously, regarding Rocket League competing against AMD are obviously not just going to sit there going la 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 la, everything's fine. They obviously are going to try and compete, but this is definitely a sign that Intel are bringing their A game once again. Let's move on though. Cyberpunk awaits. I don't think it's an overstatement to say that the hype surrounding Cyberpunk 2077 reached insanity levels. Honestly, the level of hype around this game was crazy, and it was kind of not surprising at the same time because, well, it had such a long development cycle and was of course delayed multiple times, and it was just had a lot of expectation because, well, it's CD Projekt RED and it's like a Cyberpunk game, which is really cool setting that we don't get to see too often in a big game like this. But obviously, since it came out, well, the issues that it's been having, they're well known. They vary from mildly annoying to game-breaking in some cases, and of course, on the previous generation consoles, the performance and various other issues have probably been the worst. And CD Projekt RED have issued an official statement on this. Now, I'm not going to read out the full statement because it's quite long, but you can see it on screen. But they do apologise, but the main thing I wanted to highlight here is they're offering a refund for previous generation console owners. So, quote, "First of all, we'd like to start by apologising to you for not showing the game on base last-gen consoles before it premiered, and in consequence not allowing you to make a more informed decision about your purchase. We should have paid more attention to making it play better on PS4 and Xbox One. Second, we will fix bugs and crashes and improve the overall experience. The first round of updates has just been released and the next one is coming within the next 7 days. Expect more as we continue to update frequently whenever new improvements are ready. Finally, we would like everyone who buys our games to be satisfied with their purchase. We would appreciate it if you gave us a chance, but if you're not pleased with the game and your console and don't want to wait for updates, you can opt to refund your copy. For copies purchased digitally, please use the refund system of PSN or Xbox respectively. For box versions, please try to get a refund at the store where you bought the game. Should this not be possible, please contact me at email address and we'll do our best to help you. Starting from today, you can contact us for a week up until December 21st, 2020. And they also put a little PS at the end just to say that PC gamers will also get regular updates and fixes. So, there you have it. Now, obviously, the launch of this has been mixed, shall we say. For some, flawless, for others, flawful, sadly. Myself, I've had a few bugs. I got soft-locked once, where the game was like, yeah, you need to kill all the enemies before you can leave, but there was no one left alive, and I was literally just trapped in this room forever. But I just reloaded my previous save, redid the combat, and it was fine. Obviously, it was annoying to have to do that, but it wasn't the end of the world. I just reloaded an old save. A more funny glitch where I called my car and it like spawned on top of some barriers. Trying to get it off that was interesting. But you know, performance issues and all that, and there's definitely been people have been not having a good time when it comes to Cyberpunk. So, you know, obviously I do feel that the last gen versions of Cyberpunk probably should have been scrapped or at least delayed, because it's just clear that the versions that are on the last gen consoles was just not ready, because obviously this game is very demanding and that hardware is old. So it is old at this point. You know, the PS5 and Xbox Series X are out, you know. So, but they should have at least delayed it, to be honest, to address these issues. But I will say they are doing more now than a lot of companies would do. So, you know, they shouldn't have made the mistake, but we can at least recognise that they are doing, in my opinion, a good thing here in their response. Oh, and one last thing that I just want to quickly highlight, there is a issue with Cyberpunk 2077 where it doesn't seem to really utilise the full potential of Ryzen processors, in particular SMT, and there is actually a quick solution which has been provided by Unhinged Dork over on Reddit. You can find his guide in the description below, and it basically gives your game an FPS boost. But I will just say, I'm not going to go through what you have to do in this video, but there is a quick guide as well as the original thread linked below. But I will just warn you, please do not do this unless you are 1000% sure of what you're doing. Okay? If you're confident, go for it. If not, just don't. That's all I'm going to say. I just wanted to quickly let you guys know that it exists. There is a FPS boosting tech that you can do, but once again, just be careful, guys. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.